Hey, buddies. It is summer, and part 2 of Curtis Glencross is what we've got on tap for you today. Hope you've been enjoying these. We've had a ton of fun recording them, and I certainly think it's a nice little peek behind the curtain. We as people in the city watching the sport that love hockey, you see these names, you feel like you know these guys, and you've heard a bit of their story. But the longer form stuff really allows you to dive in and get to know the individual, the things happening in their life at the time while we were watching them on TV. And I sort of find the more time that passes between a guy ending his career and the chats you have, the better they'll get. A little more context for the human, the family life, and what was going on in the city around them. Okay, so it's part 2 of Curtis Glencross, again, live from the Tower Studios here in Marda Loop. Tower, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, and Jeep, Southern Alberta, #1 Dodge, Ram, Chrysler dealer. Yeah, we know that, of course. Here's what you might not know. They got an event coming up at the end of August. It is the Roar and Explore, a chance to check out some of the best in Chrysler, Ram, Dodge, Jeeps. Check it out. Hey, and maybe you own one. You want to shine it up, show it off. $20 to register your vehicle. That's it. And it's going to benefit brown bagging for Calgary kids. I believe a lunch initiative for kids at school. Great cause there from Serge, Nikki, and the folks at Tower. We love it. There's also going to be food trucks there, prizes for best in show, and of course, raffles as well. And if you want more information, just give them a call at Tower. Check out their social media. There's a QR code if you want to quickly sign up. It's all available for you. It's the Roar and Explore at Tower Chrysler, August 28. Now, part 2 with Curtis Glencross. So if I'm correct, you went Keenan, Brent Sutter, Bob Hartley.
Yes.
There's not a lot of lovey-dovey, arm over the shoulder stuff necessarily. Those are 3 harder coaches if you had to put them in a box. Is that fair to say, or would that be miscasting any of them?
You know what? I think it was hard. Like, everyone thinks Brent was a real hard coach. Like I didn't find Brent as a real hard coach. I thought, like, I think most Sutters are in that same scope, right? Like if you work hard for them, you play hard for them, they want you to succeed. They're a hockey family. They don't want to see anyone not succeed. Mm-hmm. Right. And, like I said, Brent's my favorite coach. I got along fine with Mike Keenan too. Mike was fine with me. It's, everyone knew Mike and how he was kind of thing, but he was the same thing. He was a demanding coach and more on the psychology side, if you want to say, right? Like, and that, like, try to push guys' buttons different ways. Yeah. I didn't get along with Bob Hartley, and that's, kind of what made my time in Calgary come to an end. Is, I was a team guy and I wanted to stick up for my teammates, and it's just something where, it came down to I think it came down to the reason, like, I think Bob pretty much just said to Tree, I don't see him in my future going forward, kind of thing, with the team. And I had a no move clause at the time, and I wanted to stay in Calgary. And, the late Ken King, I love Ken King, and, love the how he ran, his whole persona, and just love the honesty of him. And, it came to the point where, obviously Ken, passed, but it was something where I signed my second contract here in Calgary. I went for a horseback ride with Ken King, and dealt my contract on my own. He's like, I see you as a, an Alberta boy, guy in town that, I want you to stick out and finish your career here. And so I took a hometown discount, if you want to say, at the time. Mm-hmm. I had another offer on the table at more money and in the longer term. And I chose to stay in Calgary because I loved the city of Calgary, and I loved playing, loved the Calgary Flames, loved the organization. And, wanted to be playing at home in front of friends and family every night.
Yeah. And it's funny because, Bob, the further his time in coaching passes, like, the bigger that gap, the more stories we're here. He was really tough on guys. And I feel like, it's not Bob's job to be popular, and it's not Bob's job to be well liked by the players. It's his job to get the team to perform at a high level. And he kind of did with that 14-15 team, in a sense, where I think they traded you at the deadline, but they also went on to make the plus. You had young Johnny Monahan. That was kind of that first iteration of those young guys getting in. But man, like, he was real hard on guys, and it just felt like a lot of guys just said, this isn't for me. I don't respect the way this guy's going about his business.
I don't know if he was as hard on guys, but I think there's a whole respect factor. Like, there's, say one thing to the media, say one thing to different players, and then say the opposite thing to you. And it was just, it just wasn't a, it wasn't a real honest relationship. Like I said, you want in a coach and a boss, you want someone that's honest with you and straight up with you, and a good person. And I just, I didn't have that relationship with Bob, and ended up, get me out of Calgary, which is unfortunate because obviously he was gone the next year anyway.
Yeah.
And, I love my time in Calgary and want to be a Calgary Flame.
Yeah. So you would have seen the transition then from you arrive and it's still like Iginla teams that everyone thinks have a chance to win. Mika, Jerome, you're here, you watch Bouwmeester, Iginla, Kipper all evaporate over the course of, I think it was like 6 months, if I'm correct. And then it's like the team's not as good. And this young core comes up with Johnny and Sean Monahan, a 6th overall pick, and some other pieces. I mean, you really saw the full life cycle of it from like very competitive, not so good, and it was coming back up at the time you left. That would have been interesting. Over those 7 years, you got to see every sort of spot in the standings, so to speak.
Yeah, I saw it all. Like I said, it's disappointing because we did have them good teams early, and you see the young guys when they came in, like you said, Monty, loved Monty, who sat beside me in the dressing room for 3 years, right beside me, and love the kid, great kid. Johnny comes in my last year, played a little bit with Johnny, kind of thing. But Sam Bennett was also here for a little bit too at the time, and see these young guys come in, and that's one thing so cool about the game. The game is changing so much, and these young guys, they have so much energy and they have so much, the skill and the speed that they do this, the speed that they play the game. It's remarkable. And it's, you look back at, when we were started out playing, and, it's pretty much X's and O's, and like, you didn't try toe drag at the blue line. You didn't try, you know what I mean? You're sitting your ass on the bench if you turn it over, that now kind of thing. But the creativity of these players now and the game, it's, I like the energy and the way, the skill and the way the game's going, the speed of the game. Do I miss more of the physical aspect? Absolutely. I think that's a big part of the game.
Yeah.
And it's something where, it seems like anytime you make a big body check now, it's all of a sudden it's suspension or something. Right. And it's, at the same time, guys could keep their head up.
Yeah.
Right. And
that is the one thing Rhett will say all the time here. We come in and we look at like, oh, here's Ryan Reeves catching so-and-so in the Chargers. Why is your head not up? Like, Reeves is on the ice. Yeah. Get rid of the biscuit. Do not do this. Yeah. Like, it's not just that, these hits are like, oh, it's malicious and violent. It's that guys don't expect them, and they're vulnerable as hell because they're not expecting to be hit.
That's it. Like when the game, like, it's changed so much. Like I was actually in Chicago this year for a game, and one of the big defensemen on the Blackhawks, 6'8" guy, he made a nice open ice hit, like against Vegas. I was there, and he laid him out, and I think it's Tornorty. Is Tornorty the big defenseman?
Jared Tornorty.
Yeah, he made an unbelievable hit. Like, it's clean open ice hit, right? And all of a sudden it's, now
we got to fight him, and
and it's
penalties.
But you don't, and it, there's fans too that love that side of the game as well, right?
Of course,
I understand. Like, there's, the skill side is one thing, but to have the energy and have that compete level and like body check, like you get the playoffs, and playoffs you see a little more hitting, right? More physicality, but during the regular season, it's like you said, it's almost like a shinny game because you're not. And if someone does get hit, it's a bad hit or a suspension or that kind of thing. And guys are used to keeping their head down, right? There was a couple of big hits in the playoffs even, right? That, all right, even veteran guys have got hit, right? And it's like, but the game's changed from them. Back then, they're keeping their head up. Now it's like, oh, well, I'm probably going to get away with looking, take an extra second, looking down, whatever, right? So, games change.
The 3rd annual Honda and Acura Show and Shine is coming to Village Honda. Save the date, August 26th. A Saturday, as the finest Hondas and Acuras in the city will be on display. Family friendly and no charge for spectators either. If you want to register your vehicle, it's only $10. Love it. Visit Village Honda for more information and to register if you want to get your car in there. You can also RSVP, all at villagehonda.com, and proceeds go to the amazing Subi Foundation. And a reminder, they do have new in-stock inventory on the ground. Start your automotive adventures at Village Honda, where new vehicle pricing is MSRP. Get a trip voucher for 2 to Las Vegas when you sell Village Honda your car. All makes, all models. Appraisals are complimentary and no obligation. Make money today by selling your car to Village Honda and saving yourself the hassle of selling privately. Located in the Northwest Auto Mall, villagehonda.com. Did you know that Village Honda has a huge selection of used vehicles, all makes, all models, and for all budgets? With over 70 on site and access to over 400 more vehicles in their dealer group, make Village Honda your one-stop automotive destination in Calgary. They're definitely worth the trip. Village Honda in the Northwest Auto Mall. The Hearing Loss Clinic was opened in 1993 with a simple mission: make a positive difference in the lives of our clients. It's never been about hearing loss or hearing impairment. It's been about empowering you to be socially active or more connected with loved ones and confident in every aspect of your life. Men and women of all ages, and of course, children can suffer from hearing loss too. There can be serious health risks that are linked to untreated hearing loss, and you can get a peace of mind at 4 Calgary locations: Shaughnessy, University District, Northwest in the Crowfoot Business Center, and in the North Hill professional offices. If you've got issues with your hearing, come visit one of their 4 Calgary locations for an evaluation. They're the 2022 Chamber of Commerce Professional Services Excellence Award winner. Visit one of their 3 locations in BC. You can find them in Cranbrook, Creston, Fernie, Golden, and Invermere. Famous people that have swung by the hearing loss clinic: John Huffnagel, Lanny McDonald, Haley Wickenheiser, Peter Marr. It's worked for them and it can work for you. Check out their social streams on Twitter at The Hearing Loss or on Instagram at The Hearing Loss Clinic. You just turned 40. It does feel like a long time ago that you went to Washington at the deadline. You went to a team that had Alex Ovechkin. It was before they climbed the mountain. They were a team that sort of had this, they'd been painted with this brush. You can't win with those guys. And I always hate it when you hear that in hockey because it's so hard. There's only one winner every year. And Ovechkin's a goddamn star. But what was he like in 14-15 when you show up at the deadline? Because he comes in as a brash young kid that's probably out having fun. And at this point of his career, he's the savvy vet. It's probably, he's got family. Like, where was he in the life cycle at that point? When you arrive in Washington, what's Ovi and that Caps team like?
So the Caps team is deep. Like when I got traded there, they're top team in the East kind of thing. And, looking to, probably one of the top contenders to win the cup that year. And, it's going, I got there. I absolutely loved it. First little while there, I was on a line with Brouwer and Beagle. And, first 5 games are awesome. Like we were producing, we were playing a ton of minutes, that kind of thing. The 5th game or 6th game, Beagle got hurt and blew his shoulder out. And then, it's tough when you're going into a top place team like that and an injury comes and then they kind of go back to the well. And so I kind of just got slid under the rug and they went back and, our line was so good and it could have been a key line, in that run. But they kind of went back to the well and I ended up going down and playing 4th line there and just playing, a role player. And, it was a good experience for me. I was hoping, obviously, after that, I was hoping to get another contract after that year. Ovi was great. The guys in that room, they were such a great, Nick Backstrom, them guys, it was a great room, fun guys, John Carlson, that whole room is great guys to, great guys to be around. It was fun going to the rink every day. We actually, we moved there and we're expecting Stratton, our middle son. Yeah. So we moved there and 3 weeks later we had him. And so he's our American.
So he's Washington born. How about that?
Yeah. So he's born in Arlington, Virginia there. But we actually lived, when I got there, I was living in the hotel and ended up that Ovi had an extra house that he had there that his parents usually spend a lot of time there. So he had another house where his parents lived and they weren't coming back for the rest of the season. So we ended up renting his house and it was perfect. It was like a block and a half from the hospital. So my wife was in labor. We walked to the hospital and it was a good setup for me. We had Carl Alsner and Niskanen. I only had one vehicle there, so them guys were my Uber service. They picked me up to go to the games and that kind of stuff. So it was a great group of guys, and I had a ton of fun there. And unfortunately, that was the end of it. I wasn't ready for it to be done, but that was kind of the end of my career there, because the next year when I came up as a free agent, the cap didn't go up that year, and there was guys were locked in at cap space, and there's a lot of guys that kind of got pushed out then.
I was stunned, and I know you weren't ready for it to be done. Neither were Flames fans. Everyone was shocked. They were like, look, I understand that there might not be a deal on the table right now, and that seems weird, but it is what it is. Is there a regret that you didn't wait longer, or was the writing on the wall? Like, you went to Colorado on a PTO, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I went to Toronto first. My agent at the time said, go to Toronto. I've been talking to Babcock and the staff there, and I think it's a great opportunity to go. They had the young guys, some Nylander, Marner, all them guys, Zach Hyman, they were all rookies kind of thing coming in, and younger guys, and they were looking for another. Dion was there. They were looking for another veteran guy. Kadri was there. Yeah. And I went through camp and thought camp was going great, and Bab just called me in the one day. It was kind of middle of the way through camp. He goes, my hands are tied here. He goes, I can't find the money to sign you for a deal. He goes, we'd have to make a trade and get rid of a few young guys and that kind of thing, even just to sign you. So I'm going to let you go now, so because you get another opportunity and get to another camp, which I love the honesty out of Babs. Right. And so ended up going to Colorado. flew back into Calgary that next day, and was hanging out here, kind of discussing what the next plan was. My agent said, stay patient, someone's going to call. And then got a call that afternoon from Colorado, and they were playing Calgary here the next night.
That's right. Yeah, wow.
It was weird going to the Dome,
parking
in the back lot and walking down past the homeroom to the visitors room and coming on playing against Calgary that night. So ended up going back there, and it was good because, obviously Iggy and Tangs were both in Colorado at the time.
Oh, geez. Wow.
And I thought it was going to be a great fit. Went and played exhibition games there. And, we were at the point, Patrick Wall was the coach. We're at the point where, Iggy and Tangs even mentioned me, like, you should probably start looking, just this is areas where we live kind of thing,
oh, wow.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I was, browsing online, just, waiting for, an actual nod to kind of do it. And we got home from Vegas. So we had an exhibition game in Vegas, and got back, and it was kind of a weird how it all kind of panned out and went down. But I got off the plane, and the team personnel guy, like the PR guy, came up to me when I got off the plane and just said, yeah, I'll be in touch with you tomorrow. I'm going to book you a flight back to Calgary tomorrow. So I never really heard from anyone, which was kind of seemed like kind of a shitty way to hear it kind of thing. And I called my wife that night when on my way home, and I just told Tanya, I was like, I'm done. I think I'm good with it.
You're ready.
It's time to move on. And my agent at the same time, he wanted me to go and skate and, skate with the juniors, with the Hitmen, or skate with someone and just keep
going, something, just keep you moving. Yeah.
For a couple months. And he goes, something's going to happen next month. There's going to be injury or something like that. And then you're going to get a call. You'll be a guy there. And I was at the point where, he had 3 kids, and I didn't want to be at that point. Stratton was a baby, and I didn't want to be at that point where, all right, so all of a sudden I get someone calls and I'm there, and, you're on an entry level deal pretty much kind of thing, or whatever.
League man, sure.
And up and down in the minors, like being away from the family. And I just, at that point we were, I was good with, moving on.
Are you good with it now? Do you look back and be like, that was the right decision? Or is there a part of you saying, man, maybe I should have given it more time? But also, like, you're a family guy. You had 3 kids at that point. This wasn't like a 28-year-old single guy, just like, hey, the paycheck's good. Like, there was a bigger consideration than that, wasn't
it would have been a different scenario. Like, I had lots of offers to go to Europe too. And we just said, we're not at the point right now. We're not at the stage right now. And, I just, going to Europe or that kind of, was just prolonging the retirement anyway. And, sure, it'd have been great if, like I said, if I was younger and went and toured around Europe and that kind of thing and had some fun with it and took the family over there. But with my 2 girls and then a newborn, it was like, Tanya, and we just got to the point where, like, it's not worth it to ship the whole family over there and do that way. But it was, it's, like I said, it was, for me, it was the transition out for me was good, like, because I was busy with the family, that kind of thing, and to have a good support group at home with Tanya and the kids, that was a big part of it, right? I think that was, I'm lucky to have Tanya and the family, and for that transition, lots of guys have a tough time on their transition, right?
Yeah,
and
it's true.
For me, it was, we were so busy and had other things on the go, and I felt like I was just as busy. When you get to the point, like even the next year after I retired, I was like, I don't understand how, I thought I was busy when I played, but I'm busier now.
Yeah. As a dad with 3, are you kidding me? Yeah.
So
especially a newborn and your Stratton, your first son, like, you
so
probably
it was a time.
5, 3, and 1 at that point. Like that is full chaos.
Yeah. So it was time for us. And sure, there could have been the ifs, ands, and buts kind of thing. Right. But at the end of the day, it was, we were happy and it was a good stretch.
It's time to discover or rediscover the legendary St. Eugene Golf Resort and Casino. Planning a golf trip, a romantic getaway, or maybe just some tranquility away from the city, St. Eugene is the answer. Hotel, championship golf course, casino, spa, restaurants, all of it nestled in the spectacular Rocky Mountains and just minutes outside of Cranbrook, BC. Visit their website, steugene.ca, and experience the history and heritage of the St. Eugene Golf Resort and Casino.
The original Bonton Meat Market opened its doors way back in 1921, and all they've done since then is provide the highest quality product and treat customers like family. The very best AAA Alberta beef, free-range poultry, grain-fed Alberta lamb, milk-fed veal, and fresh Alberta pork. Once again, Bonton was voted the Calgary Consumer Choice Award winner for Best Deli Meat Market. Find them at 28 Crowfoot Circle Northwest or go to bontonmeatmarket.com. So when did you turn more attention? Like you grow up, your family's in livestock, you play alongside Chris Russell. He's in sort of the rough stock game a bit. You end up holding a sort of a rodeo / poker tournament event. Like when does that? Was it a couple years later? Is it right away? Like, because that was always a part of your life. And then when you stopped playing, there was a little more, I don't want to say time because you're busier, but there's a little more focus on that sort of side of what you wanted to do post playing career.
Yeah, so I started my charity event, I believe it was 2012 or 2011.
You're still playing for the Flames?
Yeah, still playing.
Yep.
So I wanted to, obviously I wanted to get back. That was part of my, one thing that, the Flames organization, the Flames, that was one thing that they really, it's not that they pushed on you. That was something that was kind of their culture, right?
Yeah.
Be thankful, give back, support different charities, that kind of thing. And I wanted to do something to give back. And so I started my rough stock event and poker event in Red Deer. And we did that for multiple years and had a blast doing it. It was something where my brother-in-law and I, the two of us kind of ran it and had a couple committee members. And we just kind of ran with it. And it was fun. I enjoyed doing it. Loved doing the rodeo. Love, helping out the Cowboys too. Like we had a good event with a good purse and raised a lot of money for charity. So,
I think you raised over $100,000 your first year and you won the Ralph T. Scurfield Award for community work as a Flame.
Yeah. I think we're 160 or 180 the first year. We're coming on. So we did the rodeo for 8 years kind of thing. And then pandemic started and we ended up shutting it down for a couple of years. And then last year we started up again for the first year. So we turned it into, rather than doing the rodeo side, which was a ton of work and that kind of thing, we went to more of, wanted to stick with the hockey aspect. So we did a 4-team hockey tournament. And then our fun money poker event after. So it was it's been a great event. We're hoping this year, we're going to year 10 this year.
Wow.
And, we're hoping to reach the $2 million mark in 10 years.
That's incredible.
So, this year, we're going to make a big push. We're $230,000 or $240,000 away from the 2 million mark.
Wow.
So we want to go with a splash this year and hopefully get that 2 million range in 10 years.
On top of that, you're really active with the Flames alumni. What's that like? Because some of these guys are former teammates, but you also got a bunch of that 89 crew, which are a ton of fun. And those teams that go the distance together, tight that crew is. The 04 crew you just missed, but you played with a lot of them. What's your work with the alumni like?
I'm part of the executive committee with the alumni here. So I was kind of one of the first younger guys to join on the executive committee. I guess Rhett would have been one of the first, and then myself, with that group of the 89 guys that kind of started the alumni group, right? But it's I love it. That's one thing here in Calgary. We have such a good alumni base, and coming from the old 89 guys that have kind of take it on, and starting off with Pep and them guys and Lanny and all them guys starting out, and Dana starting out with the golf tournament, and transition now, and we have. It's funny, like you still have 11, 12 guys from that 89 team that still live together, or still live in Calgary, and they're best buddies and have a ton of fun together. And for me, like I'm when I go to events and listen to these guys and the stories that they have, right? I'm in awe still, right? And love the relationship we have with the older guys. But now we have a lot of younger guys coming in now, and a lot more guys that are staying in the city. And we don't only take on Flames alumni, we take on NHL alumni that come on with us, because I was fortunate enough this year to Jamie McCowan asked me to go down to Florida to the alumni meetings during the All-Star break or All-Star game, and so I went down there, and one of the biggest things is that disconnect between the current players and the alumni, and how we can that transition stage from being an alumni or from a current player to an alumni, how we make that transition phase easier for guys and help guys out and have that team, because that's one of the things you miss. I think that's the biggest thing you miss, right? Is your team camaraderie and being in the dressing room, being with the boys. And for a lot of our alumni chapters around the league to have that space and have like an alumni suite or alumni dressing room or alumni lounge, like there's teams like St. Louis where they have a dressing room where guys use that as a meeting place. Sure. Right. It's almost like a little country club where they but having that atmosphere, and with the amount of events and support that Calgary Flames and the foundation and our alumni groups do around the city, we could be busy doing things 2-3 times a week, right, with the requests we get. And it's obviously you have to pick and choose the ones you want to, or that you can support and that works with your schedule. But it's with our group, with the NHL guys, the Flames guys, NHL guys, we have such a good network of guys in Calgary, and we're able to do more events and give back. I think that's one thing, post pandemic is that, the NHL and the Flames organization and the NHL kind of set the rule after, like through COVID, that they didn't want teams, players doing much for community initiatives during the year and support and going out and doing appearances and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of that after the pandemic fell onto our alumni, which is great because it keeps our guys involved. And, we're lucky with the Flames sales team here in Calgary. And, we have anywhere from two to 4 or 5 alumni at every game that's doing around and doing visits and they're making us be a presence in the community. And, we're sort of lucky to have that after we're done.
What do fans want to talk to you about the most? Like, is there a moment where you're like, I've told the story a million times, but people just eat it up? Like, you'll be at the Dome and you're going to be signing autographs. People stop you. You probably can't get 10 feet without someone saying hi. What sort of sticks out as something that your career resonated with the fans?
I don't know if there's one thing that really stands out, like I think a lot of it, like a lot of conversations we talked about earlier is like the teams we had in Calgary. How did we not go further? How did we not win? How did we, win cups, win championships, win titles? That's one thing that really, was one question mark. Obviously you get story, people always want to ask, what's it like playing with Jerome? What's it like playing with Kipper?
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Which, that happens all the time. That being said, it's, I don't know if I can, I love my time in Calgary, as and that's why I'm still here and being a part of the alumni and being so, but I don't know if I have like a set thing that people always ask me kind of thing, but it's the thing is too, with the fans in Calgary, they're so used to seeing us around all the time. A lot of them now they're asking you, what's going on with life now? Like, what are you doing now with your time? What are you, what are your kids doing? Like, because, I remember, and lots of people remember my wife, Tanya, she was one of them people she brought our kids to every game, with 2 younger girls, starting off here in Calgary. She brought her every game because she's like, for me, it's easier to go to the Dome and go in the wives' room and have help from the other wives and girlfriends for a couple hours and get a break and have some dinner and watch warm up and watch a little bit of the first period, then take the girls home to bed. Right. But that was, so it's funny. We go to the rink now and, even the ushers in our same section 104 where we used to sit, they see our girls now and they see Tanya. Oh, how the kids. Right. So that's, that's kind of the whole family perspective and, how I think the game's changed a lot too now, because back then as family was kind of on the outside, but now you see the transition in the new era and there's kids in the dressing room all the time. There's like, back then, like you didn't really bring the kids around the dressing room too much, right? It was special when you got to go in the dressing room, bring your family down in the room. But now it's then, even I left, my wife and I talk about all the time in warm up now, how the guys now, their kids are on the glass and they're like waving to them and having fun with them. And back in the day, it's like, if you're doing that, you're not focused. Like, get ready for the game, right? That's something to use against you. So you're like pretty straight and narrow. But I don't know. It's the games. Like I said, I think the whole family aspect's huge for me.
I got my wife, who knows your wife very well, and everyone that knows your wife's a huge fan of your wife. She's recited the 5 names of your kids. Are you okay if I read them? Like, this is, I was trying to remember A, how many, and B, all their names. Can we give see if she get it right here? Okay, so it's Carter, Paisley, Stratton, Briggs, Callie.
Callie.
There it is.
Yep.
So,
so
those are some good country names, A, but B, your family is an incredible family. You've been coaching your son Stratton, who I believe is around the same age as my guys, which means he's coming into his 8-year-old season, which is a ton of fun. I think Stagen's got a kid the same age. Like, how much have you loved being a dad? And when you stopped playing hockey, how much did you realize your wife's a rock star?
Yeah, I give my wife all the credit in the world. She is a rock star. I don't know where I'd be without her. Our family is a huge part of our, I guess our family's everything. But it's so cool now watching the kids and being on the other side. And, it's pretty cool. So Troy Brower, Matt Stage, and myself, we're all started a 2015 age group team for our kids in Calgary here. So we're going down that avenue now. And it's crazy. The hockey, like it's changed so much, and the creativity and all that kind of stuff. But it's, at the same time, when we grew up, we played in our hometown. We played one thing. Now there's so many different avenues, so many different leagues to go on. So I'm trying to navigate that. I'm like, half the time I'm lost. I'm like, it's a good thing that we got 3 heads going together with Stage and Brow and I trying to figure out which routes or, what way we should go. But we're excited. Like I said, we just, we got an HSL franchise this year for the first year. And so we're starting our own little group. So our three boys are all the same age, and we want to be able to play together. And And, that's one cool thing about hockey is your teammates, your relationships, and that kind of thing. And for us to be able to go out and coach each other with each other and coach each other's kids, it's fun. It's a blast for us. I don't know if it's more fun for the kids or us coaches that get to hang out together all the time, but we absolutely, it's something where we enjoy going to the rink, love going to the rink and living through our kids.
Outdoor Dental. Dentistry with no needles, no drills, and no stress. Dr. Jay Patel decided a few years ago that it was time to change the dental experience for his patients. Introducing the Solea Laser. This laser treatment is pain-free, will leave you feeling relaxed and comfortable. In addition, the laser is used to treat sleep apnea by increasing the tension of the soft palate to reduce snoring. In just 2 15-minute treatments, you could be getting the amount and quality of sleep that you've been missing out on. Visit their website for more information and to book a consultation, outdoor.dental. That website again, outdoor.dental. The word is out. Mad Rose Pub in Royal Oak has become one of Calgary's best pubs, and it's no secret why. 20 beers on tap, kid-friendly Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, daily specials, lunch specials, some of the best food you're going to find in the city, period. Burgers, pastas, steaks, full entrees, and proud to serve one of the best and most talked about pizzas in Calgary. Summer's here. Come enjoy the brand new patio. Check out their website. Maybe order some takeout. Madrose.pub is the website. 15 Royal Vista Place is the address. It's Mad Rose Pub.
It's funny. I had a buddy. He's like, "Oh yeah, we played that stage in Glencross Broward team. Damn, they were good." I'm like, "How'd Stratton look?" Looked like his dad. He's a good player.
It's funny. It's you see the different tendencies in your kid, and like Tanya's like, she goes, "Stratton skates exactly like you." I'm like, well, yeah, but it's little things like that obviously we don't see, but obviously Tanya watches. She's like, yeah, skates like you. My dad and my parents too. He skates exactly like you did. Yeah, so
it's wild, and then it's fun. You get to watch them build those relationships and have those bonds in the dressing room that you got to have. Another generation. That's got to be tons of fun.
Yeah, it's so much fun. My kid, he's always bug him because he's the last kid of the dressing room every single practice. I'm like, hey buddy, let's go, let's get out of here. Like we got to get home. And
he's familiar.
Yeah, he just sits there and that's the way he is. He's a social butterfly, and he's got such a cool little personality to him. He's intense. He's like me, has a little bit of a short fuse and gets has that emotion. But at the same time, he's one of them kids that he's a perfectionist too, and he I don't know. That's just something about he's
the way he's wired.
It's the way he's wired. Exactly.
You're almost done a full year of a new gig. Tell us about what you're doing now away from hockey, and I guess how it came to be, how you like it. What are you doing now that I don't know if you want to call it your career, your another job, or just something that takes some time here while you're coaching here and you're a family man here. Like you're working with Cardinal Point Sports Management. What do they do? Yeah.
So for me, it's a cool little transition. Like this is, what's one thing about hockey, your career doesn't last very long. And for me, I knew I wanted to do something after hockey, and this is an opportunity that came about. For me, it's I've been a client of the company for 20 plus years, and they approached me about coming on board. So our biggest thing is we deal with hockey players and athletes of doing their cross-border taxes. I call it a personal concierge service for hockey players.
Yeah, sure.
We do everything from paying their monthly bills to helping them with disability insurances to helping them with their car insurance policies, their home insurance policies, their renters insurance policies, dealing with banks directly. Pretty much anything on a concierge service for players, we take care of for them. So guys, for example, lose their credit card on the road kind of thing. Yep. They, rather than sit on the phone with the bank and on the hold, they call our girls in the office. They take care of everything for them. Crazy part is like people don't realize, like when it comes to the tax side, when you're a professional athlete and you're traveling around, you got to pay tax in every state you play in. So
it's not just the home games. There's 41 road games. You're filing taxes in different jurisdictions, provinces, states, and they're all different, right?
Yeah. So to manage how many days you are in each state and that kind of thing. And it's the cool thing about it is when, they approach, obviously I've been a client for 20 years at the company, but when they approach me about coming on, it's more of a, another aspect of my job is more of the mentorship side too. I'm not your coach. I'm not your player. I'm not your parent. I'm not your agent. I'm another voice and another ear that you can vent out on it if you have issues, that kind of thing, where I can, be another line of support for young players, and for me, building them relationships now. And it's, you look at agents and they're building relationships with kids at 14, 13 years old now, which is, I seem is absolutely crazy, but that's the way the game's gone. And for me to start building relationships with these kids, so when they do sign a contract, and it's a completely different life changer when they sign their first contract and money's coming in, and trying to get them set up where they live. If they're going to be in the States, cutting ties to Canada, move down there, importing vehicles, like all that kind of stuff. Right. So it's a completely different aspect. And, a lot of these kids, they don't, and well, not only kids, but a lot of these guys that we deal with and clients of ours, they don't realize that, okay, with your career, if you run a 10-year career, you're doing really well.
You're beating the odds. Yeah.
Right. What's it look like from post career to you get your pension at 62?
It's a long time.
And how do we bridge that gap? And how do we monitor your spending? How do we advise you on different business situations, different opportunities you have? I know one thing, I had friends all the time approach me about, hey, why don't you invest in this company? Why don't you invest in this? That kind of thing, right, early on. And it's something where, we do business evaluation. So if they get pitched something, it comes to us, we do a complete business evaluation and
is
advise
this legit?
them.
Is this not?
Yeah, advise them on, is this make sense or does this not make sense? We're staying away from this. This is something that intrigues us. So it's for me, I've, like I said, 20 years, and I'm in contact weekly, or, with the girls in the office, or our partners of the company, and talking about that, and always had that relationship. Like, big part of my job is when our clients come to town, I'll take them for breakfast the day of a game, or take them for dinner the night before a game, and just build that relationship. And if they have any issues that,
what's going on in your life?
Yeah,
what do you need help with?
Another lifeline.
Yep.
Right. And, like I said, for me, this is a good transition for me. And like I said, I've lived it through this company for 20 years, and I want to help these young guys so that, you don't hear horror stories of guys going broke, or, bad business deals, or anything like that, where, I want to look out for them and long-term for their family.
Well, and it's nice that it's not just, hey, this company I just met. No, they manage my money. I know how these guys work. I can vouch for them and trust me on this. And here's my experience in this situation. I think it's a great fit. We wish you the best of luck in that. There's a couple of your old teammates that have new jobs, Craig Connor and Jerome McGinley. What are your thoughts on the developments of the last 6 months? A very different front office than the one we saw around Christmas.
It is definitely different. It's great. Connie's, I was fortunate enough to play with both of them for a long time. And Connie's one of them guys that, his whole persona, as a guy you see as a leader, that kind of thing. And him coming in and, leading he's been around a long time, put his dues in.
Yeah.
Connie used to live right behind me when I lived in West Hillhurst. And when he first retired and he started working out as a special assistant to the GM kind of thing, I never seen the guy. I saw the girls and his wife and the girls all the time. The girls babysat for us once in a while, but
he was always
Connie was on the road.
Yeah.
He was on the road 20, 25 days a year. He's put his time in. Connie is such a nice guy, and that's one thing that, he is loyal. Obviously bringing Jerome back in, he wants to bring some, people around him that he knows and, has that loyalty to, and, put a group together. He's got, he's done a good job, and he's got mentors. He's mentored under, so many good top execs in the game, and learned the process and learned the role. Right. And, for him, I'm excited for him. I think Connie's going to do a great job. It'll be interesting this next year. A lot of things have changed, and, players have demanded what they've wanted, and they've kind of got what they wanted. So now it's in their hands, right? Yeah. It's a whole new coaching staff, not new coaching staff, but different
new head coach,
a couple
new assistants,
assistants. And, it's at the point now where, it's on the players now.
Yeah.
Right. That was one thing when Tree had brought in Daryl. He's like, the coach isn't going anywhere. Like, we're going to figure out what's going on here and do that kind of thing. And, Daryl had his time, and he taught a lot of guys a lot of great things. I was at a game right before the year before Johnny kind of left. Right. And I was sitting there and warm up, and Johnny's dad was sitting there. So I went and sat beside Johnny's dad. He's like, what? We kind of talked about the coaching and that kind of stuff. And he goes, I love Daryl as a coach. Daryl's done so much for Johnny as a player, and, that kind of thing, and that avenue. Right. And like, you hear that from, guys, and, look at Johnny, look at Chucky. They've had some of their best careers under Daryl. Right. And it's, that whole transition stage now. So it's, unfortunately didn't work out for Daryl with the team last year kind of thing. But now that they have that new step coming in, and Ryan's going to come in and do a good job, and but it's on the players now. So
Yep,
it's time for them to step up, and that's where it's at now.
There's a few excuses that you can't fall on anymore. It's time for the players to show up, and I think it'll be an intriguing year. There's still lots of talent there. And
There is.
They didn't bring in a guy that they didn't like. The new coach is a guy the organization really likes, that they've groomed to be a head coach. Ditto with Connie as a GM, and they're first time guys, but they've been learning the ropes for a while. I'm fascinated to see how it goes.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be good. I'm excited to see it all play out, and obviously get back to your question earlier about Connie and Iggy. Like Iggy's coming in, like Iggy's just kind of getting his feet wet now, I think. Right? Obviously, I'm guessing he wants to finish coaching his kids in Kelowna.
Joe's got one more year at U15 or U15 age group, and then he's into the Western League. And I think you'll see a lot of Jerome. Not that you haven't already, but once
for sure.
This time in a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Full time.
It'll be it'll be different, different look again, right? And obviously, I think with them too, and their the hockey minds that they have, and just with the two of them, like there's a lot of experience there, right?
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that between the two of them and the rest of the staff, like between the pro scouting guys and the rest of management, they've been around a long time, right? And to collaborate, and it's cool to have two alumni in there now, and kind of taking over the ropes.
Hey guys, it's Pinder. Back to the show in a moment. We're going to dive into a Betway bet of the day though right now. And I'll tell you one thing, I've been thoroughly impressed with the Baltimore Orioles work over the first 2/3 of the baseball season or so. Best bullpen in baseball, best closer in baseball, deep lineup, maybe no superstars, but a lot of really solid players. Pitching staff maybe doesn't wow you, but they just win, guys. They win. Hitting, bullpen, starting rotation. I don't see a weakness. They are plus 500 to come out of the American League in Major League Baseball's playoffs this year. I mean, they're third or fourth on the list for odds. What are you talking about? This is the best team in the AL right now. I love Baltimore plus 500 to come out of the American League and head to the World Series. Jump on that one. Get the Betway app, 19 plus. Bet the responsible way. Betway. Awesome to hear about your new gig. Always great to run into your family. Great people. The amount of money you've raised in the community with your work with the alumni and your own, poker, rough stock, hockey event as that's evolved over the years. Huge kudos to you. And I think, I asked you what Flames fans would come up and talk to you about. I'll tell you one thing that everyone would agree on. Like everyone admired the way you played the game. You were physical. You played with a great intensity. You worked your tail off. You're a great Flame, and appreciate the sit down time today.
Thanks for having me. It's been a long time coming. We've been trying to schedule a date for a long time, but obviously busy, and no, it's glad to get in. I look forward to coming back. Thanks for having me.
Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thanks, buddy.